Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JVS. So I'm back here again for a brand new TV show review for the show, the hit show, I might add. I guess it's the #1 show in America based on the latest statistics. And this is the second episode. So the name of this episode was Stronger Together. Not even going to read out the synapsis. I'm going to let y'all know what I thought about this episode just off the gate. So compared to the first episode, how did I feel about it? Even though the first episode was a great pilot, it propelled you into the world that's kind of more lighthearted. It's not like really gritty like a lot of the DC comic related heroes and animations have been. It plays upon the feminist movement and actually pushes into like women empowerment on a deeper level that I can even comprehend being a male. But as far as the actual show is concerned, I thought that the graphics for the scene with the plane were awesome. I thought that the fight sequences were really awesome. But this episode, I think, was better. I actually liked this episode a lot better than I did the first episode, which surprised me, to be quite honest with you, because when I was watching it, I realized the first thing that they kind of showcased was her kind of trying to be Superman. Like she felt as though she had to fall in the line, the footsteps of her cousin. And she kind of messes up a lot. Like even Jimmy kind of alludes to when Kat was kind of like basically dissing her and saying this and that about her. He was like, even Superman starting out, you know, was dealing with his own struggles in the beginning. But I mean, one of the things she did early on is she was training with her sister Alex and Hank Henshaw and their group to be better, and like she even broke the sound barrier, which is really cool to actually watch that on a visual level. But like she was really overzealous, and so there was a situation with the fire that happened, and so she went to the tanker truck. She couldn't blow it out, for one, and then two, she tried to move it, and she moved it to keep everybody safe, but in doing so she actually cracked the hole and all the freaking oil waste came out, and it was like, it made her look so bad. And so they were kind of like, is she a menace? Is she good for this? And it made for her realizing that she might not be as good as she thinks she is. It's not so much her just kind of hanging up everything, but she had to take a moment to step back. And then there's the introduction of Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord, I'm not going to mention who he is, but he's going to play a big role into this. Even when I actually went to New York Comic Con, there was actually an interview with the guy that's playing that character, and that's going to be interesting to see where that goes. I think there was like a moment where it was really funny because most of the episode, there's kind of like a love triangle going on between like Jimmy, Kara, and what's the other guy's name? I forget the other guy's name that's been helping them. I think his name is Ren, or is it Win? I'm sorry. And like basically they are trying to motivate her and help her out, but she seeks them out. She seeks both of them out in deeper ways to try to make herself better, and they kind of have her going through small crimes and trying to work her way up the different stepping ladder. But what gets her to that point, which I liked about this episode, is the fact that Kat Grant opened up about the way that she came up on the mist. She expressed that as a woman, that they have to work twice as hard as any kind of man, and I even believe that sincerely. But it's not just that. Like she said that she started off working with Perry White under his front desk, and then she worked her way and worked her butt off. And I just that there's mentions of Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and she's kind of sour with them because she worked with them, because she's trying to not just make something of herself, but make something better. And she basically, Kara is like, what is it that which you would tell Supergirl? She basically says she needs to slow down, regroup, stop feeling herself so much, and do what she has to do. And I thought that was the best motivational speech that she could have ever had, because Kat comes across like a jerk. But in this one, Ally McBeal, like, I can't believe I called it Ally McBeal. The person that's playing Kat Grant, she came off a lot more attractive and more sincere in the way that she motivates Kara in this episode, and I like that dynamics about it. Not just that, with Kara and Alex, Kara is basically still trying to get through the wheels of being Supergirl, And so Alex decides to show her like this training regimen where basically it's about 18% worth of kryptonite in the room. So they kind of go and spar a little bit. And like Kara realizes she's not ready. Like she gets dusted by her sister, but she learns some interesting lessons that go moving forward. But the relationship between them in this episode was even more defined because it showed that Alex not only understands, but she empathizes with everything she's going through. She talked about how when her parents were telling her that this girl had lost her whole entire world, her whole entire family, she's fragile, she needs this, she needs that. And like there's a really great communicational line that they go, and like basically Kara realizes that like she needs her sister to have faith in her, and her sister emphasizes that, as well as towards the end shows her kind of like that, here's your small kind of fortress of solitude, like basically artificial intelligence incarnate of her mother. And she needed that because one of the big fight sequences was not just the small villain, which is the guy that was the insect, I forget the name of his race or whatever, but he was basically trying to steal all these different kind of organic materials to feed himself, and they had went off trying to stop him, but find out the real threat is with Kara's aunt Esther, that's a twin of her mother, and she's a general, and she's the one that's spearheading all this, but she's got somebody she's actually working for, which they have not revealed who that is yet. But they square off. Like it's interesting seeing the back flashbacks because you see they have a good relationship. You see that Kara is really intelligent, really inquisitive, and trying to learn things. And then going full first now, like she's helping the group being able to do what they got to do. But the fight sequence that happened, it was done pretty well. I mean, as far as a visual standpoint, I think. Because this is a TV show, I thought it was done really well considering it's a TV show. It wasn't the best. I mean, compared to this, the Man of Steel is like, you can't do that. But when she's actually flying and all this different kind of stuff, I think to myself, man, wish Smallville would have went this route and actually having Clark fly more often and all this kind of stuff. But woulda, shoulda, coulda. But it was done really well as far as visual effects, as far as the fight sequences. But I guess one of the tender-hearted moments that I liked was when Kara basically gave insight to James because basically Cat Grant was threatening to fire him if she didn't come up with this interview for her and Supergirl. And he didn't want to go and just kind of double team his friend. He let her know that, but she didn't really care. And basically he felt as though he was the understudy to everything. He felt as though like he was Superman's friend, like his pal. Like he felt like he was being used. He wasn't an asset, he wasn't his own man. But Kara basically said that where she comes from, that what you're doing is the highest of esteem, that's the highest honor. And I love that sequence. I love their dialogue, and it's easy to see that they have a lot of tension, like romantic tension, and not just that they really get each other, they vibe off each other more so than Kara and Wynn. So it's definitely there. One thing I noticed that girls don't realize is when guys like them, like they can kind of come off flirty with one and they might have feelings for this one, but they act the same with both. And so it's really going to play these two guys against each other. But that is something that, that as me as a guy, I've seen that happen, and girls do not know when that kind of comes across. And so it's interesting to watch that from Kara's perspective, and then watching both of the guys kind of like pining over her. But at the end, like even with her like giving Kat what she wanted, I was like, this is pretty tight. So it was a really good episode. It was a really solid one. I give it a, I liked it a lot better than the first episode. I don't remember what I gave it for the first episode. I would say it's an 8.5 or a 9. I actually really enjoyed this episode more than I thought I would. And hopefully y'all go and check it out because it's really growing. But one thing I will spoil for y'all is look up the name Hank Henshaw. I did not put 2 and 2 together at all. If y'all know Superman's lore, just look up Hank Henshaw. I don't even want to spoil it in this discussion. If y'all want me to talk about who that man is, leave in the description bar below. I'll do a whole spoiler discussion about who this man really is, because when you see his eyes light up towards the end, there's a reasoning for that, and I'm not going to tell you why. So it's interesting to see where this is going to go. I enjoyed the episode. Thanks everybody for watching. This is SEL0320 representing JVS. We'll be back again, I think, tomorrow for The Flash. Peace. Boom, boom, boom.